Tonight, remembering a legend of Canadian hockey and a powerful force off the ice.
Here's Hedberg, shoots, Dryden, pad save.
Politicians and hockey fans pay tribute to Ken Dryden.
It's a time to remember him and what he did and how good he was.
How his legacy will be felt far beyond the crease. Plus, big accusations in small-town politics.
I'm used to this type of thing, but I'm not used to the way this has impacted my family and the way it's impacted my wife.
What an Ontario man says he was threatened with to keep him from running for mayor. And a breathtaking display of balloons.
It's really cool to watch because they bring in different shapes every year.
The mesmerizing sight filling maritime skies.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the passing of a Canadian giant, a Renaissance man who left his mark in sports, politics, and more. Ken Dryden once stood strong in the net and later devoted his life to serving others. He died Friday following a battle with cancer at the age of 78.
Here's Hedberg, shoots, Dryden, pad save.
The Hall of Fame goaltender claims 6 Stanley Cups and helped backstop Canada's generation-defining victory at the 1972 Summit Series. A key member of the Montreal Canadiens in the 1970s, today the team's owner and president said Ken Dryden was the cornerstone of one of hockey's greatest dynasties. The Prime Minister offered his condolences on the passing of a man he called an inspiration, who advocated for national affordable childcare. Mark Carney said few Canadians have given more or stood taller for our country. Ken Dryden was big Canada, and he was best Canada. May he rest in peace. Ken Dryden lived a life with many layers. His career in some ways was just getting started when he left the ice. CTV's Jack Richardson on how Canadians are remembering him tonight.
Remembering the life and legacy of one of the best Montreal Canadiens of all time, goaltender Ken Dryden.
Such a legend. I grew up watching the Canadiens when he was the goalie, so it's quite something to hear that he's passed away.
After a battle with cancer, Dryden passed away peacefully at the age of 78 Friday night. It was a somber Saturday morning for Canadiens fans who paid their respects at Dryden's statue at the Raymond Bourque Arena in St. Laurent and at the Bell Center.
People feel it, even though we didn't see him play. It was the same thing when Guy Lafleur passed. I came here for his wake.
It's a bit of a sad day, but at the same time, it's a time to remember him and what he did and how good he was.
Dryden burst onto the scene in 1971, backstopping the Habs to a Stanley Cup and winning the Conn Smythe Award as the playoff MVP. He went on to win the Calder Trophy as the league's best rookie the following season. From 1971 to 1979, Dryden won 5 Vezina trophies as the NHL's best goalie and helped lead the Canadiens to 6 Stanley Cups in total.
He is regarded as one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Of that, there is no doubt.
Across the country, hockey fans will remember his performance in the 1972 Summit Series, leading Team Canada to victory against the Soviet Union.
If you were playing even street hockey, everybody was, well, I'm Ken Dryden. It was, he was it. He was the biggest thing going.
Dryden spent 8 seasons as the Canadiens' star goalie, and when he retired, he had a stacked resume of both team and personal awards. But what really stands out about his career is his impact off the ice. Dryden served as the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs, became a lawyer, and was elected as a Liberal MP for York Centre in 2004. But he also spent time writing several novels, including Game Change, the story of the late Steve Montador in 2017.
Steve Montador should still be alive, and he isn't.
The book emphasizes that more needs to be done to protect NHL players from head injuries.
It's the hits to the head, and there are not that many of them in a game. It's just that they are particularly damaging when they happen.
A goalie from the 70s advocating for players in today's NHL, Ken Dryden will be remembered as a trailblazer.
An unprecedented champion on the ice, and then a remarkable life of influence off the ice as an author, as an advocate, as a political leader.
Jack Richardson, CTV News, Montreal.
People right across this country are sharing unique memories of Ken Dryden and the impact he had on their lives. Like one fan who made a connection with the former NHLer based on a jersey and a letter.
I am absolutely honored that Mr. Dryden remembered me back then. And, you know, he made this little boy extremely proud and extremely happy. And I'll never forget that.
As a child, Bill Wong sent Ken Dryden a photo of himself sporting a jersey with his last name on it and Dryden's number, along with a letter telling him how much Wong wanted to be like him. Dryden, who was retired at that point, made sure to write back and sent him a picture as well, forming a special connection. Joining me now is someone who knew Ken Dryden personally and professionally. Michael Farber, TSN contributor and former Sports Illustrated writer, thank you for taking the time. Michael, you covered his final year with the Montreal Canadiens, his last Stanley Cup run in 1979. What will you remember most about him?
I remember Ken as a principled, disciplined man who was always the smartest guy in the room. He didn't have one life. He had life upon life upon life, bricks that went into building something spectacular, both for hockey and for Canada. And the game misses him, and everyone who was a friend misses him as well.
How do you want Canadians to remember Ken Dryden? What is the legacy he leaves both on and off the ice?
Well, you will remember him as a great goalie, best of his generation in the 70s. 6 Stanley Cups, 5 Vezina trophies, and that was obvious. People in Toronto will remember him as a successful president of the Maple Leafs. People will remember him as an author. He wrote the best book ever on hockey, The Game, that was published in 1983. But I think it's important for Canadians to remember the late Ken Dryden, his later years, when he was very interested in eliminating headshots from the game, protecting health, avoiding head injuries, and he devoted himself to that. And we won't know this for a while, but the work Ken Dryden did on this might be his most lasting legacy.
His devotion to serving others, truly a lasting legacy. Michael Farber, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. A Canadian Armed Forces member deployed in Latvia and who had been missing since Tuesday has been found dead. Warrant Officer George Hall was a vehicle technician from a helicopter squadron based in Edmonton, deployed as part of a NATO mission. In a statement, Canada's Chief of Defence Staff says Warrant Officer Hall will be remembered for his many years of dedicated service, and our hearts are with all who knew him during this time of great sorrow. An Ontario man alleges he and his wife were the subject of violent threats in an effort to deter him from running for political office. As CTV's Colton Prail reports, politicians at all levels in Canada say hostility is getting worse.
In small-town Ontario, politics can be life and death.
It starts off with Karina Trail identifying herself, proceeding to tell me that I need to stay out of next year's election. And that if I don't, she will come to my house and kill me and sexually assault my wife.
In a 39-second voicemail, Tom Dingwall alleges his local city councillor, Karina Trail, threatened him and his wife if he ran for mayor in next year's municipal election. CTV News heard the voicemail, but it was not recorded to protect an ongoing police investigation.
I'm used to this type of thing, but I'm not used to the way this has impacted my family and the way it's impacted my wife.
In a statement to CTV News, Trail said it was an unfortunate circumstance that would be inappropriate to discuss.
Christia, yes. What the f are you doing in Alberta?
Harassment in politics isn't new, but since COVID, the problem has skyrocketed.
Steal our money. You're all scumbags. You're all kid
Reporting from the Canadian press shows threats made to the Prime Minister and Cabinet climbed from over 40 in 2021 to more than 300 last year. And the problem stretches to all levels of politics, including those who aren't in office.
I wish somebody would come along and blow your head off. Middle finger.
Sharon Carr is a political contributor for CTV News and a former senior Liberal official. She says personal attacks like this are a daily occurrence.
commenting on everything from, oh my God, she's got so much plastic in her face, to her hair color, to her body size.
Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward founded Elect Respect, where voters and politicians pledged to be civil to draw more attention to the issue.
I'm here to say that's not good enough. Why do we accept politics as a blood sport? It's not. We're here to serve the public. I'm your mayor, not your punching bag.
It's a message Dingwall endorses.
I think everybody should be speaking out about this and shouldn't be condoning it in any way.
Some former politicians are calling on Ottawa to create a dedicated protective service for parliamentarians, akin to the U.S. Secret Service. Heather.
CTV's Colton Prale in Ottawa. Thanks. The labor dispute between Air Canada and its flight attendants isn't over just yet. Flight attendants rejected the airline's latest wage offer today by an overwhelming margin. According to the union, 99.1% of its members refused the offer in a vote which wrapped up today. The wage issue will now be referred to mediation. The trade dispute between Canada and the U.S. is the basis for a suite of new measures introduced by the federal government. It includes supports for Canadian sectors and businesses struggling under the weight of tariffs. But some are questioning if it will be enough. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has reaction tonight.
How are you guys? Good.
It's a move aimed at helping workers like these deal with the realities of Donald Trump's trade war.
What's going on is not a transition. It's a rupture. And its effect will be profound.
A series of targeted initiatives meant to support the sectors hardest hit, like steel and aluminum.
We find ourselves basically locked out of our historical market, where we've shipped as much as 50 to 60% of our steel to the U.S.
The Carney government hopes their new Buy Canadian policy will help, set to outline an obligation to buy Canadian through new public procurement rules.
Our producers are now suffering by loss of access to the U.S. market, and that for us, our survival goes through our Canadian market.
One of Canada's biggest steel producers applauds the move.
We'd like to work with the government to ensure that in that process, there's no room for certain actors to exclude Canadian steel in their original designs or specifications.
New loan flexibility, supports for workers, and a $5 billion strategic response fund are all other measures being rolled out to help all affected industries, while canola producers are getting targeted support.
We think some of the measures are missing the mark a little bit in terms of what the industry needs.
The government announced more than $370 million for new biofuel production incentives. The industry says it falls short.
We don't see anything in that particular announcement that is going to substantively increase the demand for canola as a feedstock for domestic biofuel production. So we believe that should have gone further.
Now, Canada is the world's largest exporter of canola, but new Chinese tariffs have essentially locked them out of one of their biggest markets. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, along with the Prime Minister's parliamentary secretary, are in China this weekend on a trade mission to try and repair that trade relationship. Heather?
Thanks, Jeremy. CTV's Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa. Police in Kitchener, Ontario have opened up an arson investigation after a fleet of luxury cars was set on fire. Security video from the car dealership shows an individual dousing the cars with fuel before igniting them, almost lighting themselves on fire in the process. 6 vehicles were destroyed. Damage is pegged at roughly $250,000. There's another twist in the saga of a BC ostrich farm. The Federal Court of Appeal has granted an interim stay order to delay the cull of its birds. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency called for the birds' destruction in December after avian flu spread in the flock. The farm wants to further delay the cull as it seeks a hearing at the Supreme Court of Canada. Israel is stepping up its offensive in Gaza City. Its military issuing a warning today for people to leave and head south. But many Palestinians are refusing despite the danger. An Israeli Defense Force missile strike on a high-rise building in Gaza City was captured on video. That attack turning the tower into rubble in seconds. The IDF claims the building was being used by Hamas. Church bells rang in Washington, D.C., a show of support for the thousands of protesters marching through the U.S. Capitol. The demonstrators are demanding President Trump end the use of National Guard troops to patrol the city. And hundreds of people lining up for hours in Milan today to pay their last respects to the late Giorgio Armani. The fashion mogul passed away on Thursday at the age of 91. A private funeral will be held on Monday. Coming up, a passport to homegrown adventure.
We kind of had this perfect storm of reasons for Canadians to explore Canada.
How the Canada Strong Pass helped travelers have plenty of summertime fun in their own backyard. Plus, a floating fiesta in the skies over New Brunswick. School is now back in session, and for many, this was a summer to remember as we get a first glimpse of how Canadians spent their time. As it turns out, fewer trips south and more museums, parks, and train rides right here at home. CTV's Maria Saru on how the Canada Strong Pass factored in.
Late summer on PEI, and a steady stream of people trek to Brackley Beach for a spot in the sand and a quick dip.
Going in the water.
We try to get out at least once a week, if we can, and we enjoy it.
That ritual was more affordable this year with the Canada Strong Pass. It was launched by the Mark Carney government in June and ended this week. The pass offered free admission to national parks and museums for many, discounted camping, plus lower via rail fares.
That certainly supported the people coming to the beach, and so all good.
New numbers show a 15% increase in attendance at national museums, 10% more visits at Parks Canada places, and at least 50,000 Canada Strong Pass bookings on Via Rail, with final results in the coming weeks. Tourism operators in PEI say it came at the right time.
We kind of had this perfect storm of reasons for Canadians to explore Canada.
Some Canadian travelers are boycotting trips south of the border. In June, the number of return trips from the U.S. was down nearly 29% year over year. Canadians choosing to explore here at home also boosted local businesses.
We've certainly heard from operators that there's been an increase.
Now the push is on for a strong fall season, and at this national park, the crowds keep coming, soaking up the last days of summer. Maria Saru, CTV News, Brackley Beach, Prince Edward Island.
Still ahead, content moderation, frustration. Why some Instagram users say artificial intelligence is acting as a judge and jury. Rising Canadian soccer star Olivia Smith is already proving why she was the first female soccer player to fetch a £1 million payday.
Lovely feet. Takes aim.
The 21-year-old from Whitby, Ontario, scoring a big goal on her Women's Super League debut for Arsenal. That sparked a comeback that led to a 4-1 victory. Smith says it was a special moment for her and that those are the kind of goals she hopes to score. Many athletes use social media to help build their brand, but there's a growing concern among Instagram users whose accounts might be wrongfully suspended. CTV's Alison Bamford on the business owners in Saskatoon who lost access and are pointing the finger at AI.
Log in.
Chase Flair is working out with a client, sessions he'd typically post on his Instagram account to promote his gym.
It's literally the center, the nucleus of the marketing for those companies.
That is until his profile went black.
I thought that maybe it was a glitch.
Flair received this email from Meta last week informing him his account had been suspended due to activity that does not follow community standards on abuse.
It's a big ball of shock. Obviously, if anyone's ever followed my Instagram page, they know none of my content has anything to do with abuse of anything.
This is a global problem and there really is no solution.
Tech experts say Meta's AI content monitoring system is likely to blame for incorrectly flagging and suspending accounts.
AI content moderation is not perfect and there are false positives that come out, unfortunately, quite frequently.
Saskatoon photographer Paige Bell lost her business Instagram account in June, along with the client traffic, some 320,000 monthly page views, and 50% of the hits to her website, all collateral damage.
I rely on it for my income and my clientele, and
Even the small things like messaging clients and helping them pick their photo location.
Meta gives users 180 days to appeal a suspension, a process that didn't work for Flair or Bell. Now they're left to rebuild a following that this time they hope stays.
That is definitely a big fear, is losing it all over again.
Mass suspensions have swept through Instagram and Facebook over the last few months. CTV News reached out to Meta for comment but did not hear back. However, in June, the company reportedly said it was working to fix a technical error. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, up, up, and away. What's behind the breathtaking annual tradition high above Atlantic Canada? We leave you tonight with a soaring sight capturing a lot of attention. Hot air balloons are decorating the sky above Sussex, New Brunswick this weekend. The annual festival drawing people there for nearly 40 years. We sent Sarah Plowman to check it out.
In September, the skies above Sussex shine, dotted with drops of color, big bright balloons. Chasing them from the ground is part of the fun, but this year Amanda Burke got to fly.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was really fun. It was very enjoyable.
From above, the valley put on a show, just like the festival has for 39 years. The joy, this tradition is shared by generations. Brock Jorgensen's mom brought him here. Now he brings his daughter.
A big part of town and living in town is getting in your vehicle, like in the wee hours of the morning with your parents and following all the balloons out to the countryside.
Now a cinematographer, he loves to showcase and share what's special about his hometown.
What's really awesome about it is when you see them up in the sky like as one unit, it's just beautiful. And it's really cool to watch because they bring in like different shapes every year.
Pilot Bill Whalen has flown here since the late 80s, even though he insists he's afraid of heights.
There's many of us that are a little nervous of heights, and I've been up 13,000+ feet.
As a trainer, he teaches the next generation, like Delia Dory, who's about to officially gain her wings.
Last July, I went one flight and I was so mesmerized I came down and was like, I'm doing it.
Balloons launch in the morning and at night, but the wind and weather doesn't always cooperate. About half the flights have been grounded so far.
I mean, that's the one thing we can't control no matter how many hours we put into it, unfortunately.
And that makes moments like these even more rare. And for those taking it in, all that more special. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Sussex, New Brunswick.
Spectacular sight. That is our newscast for this Saturday. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.